Okay. Could you imagine if somebody in your family or somebody you love was not able to be with the people they love? Could you imagine if they were being bullied or violated or abused and beaten and discriminated against the person they loved, or because they wanted to, be with the person they want to be with?
If it's the same sex, not different sex. Workplace discrimination. According to a federal law, the lesbians, gays, transgenders, and bisexuals cannot be discriminated against, but they are still there's no law that protects them from it, but they're still being discriminated against. And recently there was a law passed, the INDA, it's Employment Non-Discrimination Act. It's saying you can't discriminate against any LGBTQ members, but they're still being discriminated against, even while they have that law to protect them.
Did you know that the Fair Housing Acts do not protect
Once again, friends and
LGBT community people when purchasing, renting, or leasing homes? There are 20 out of 50 states in America. None of them protect LGBT members from any discrimination in that kind of situation. So in 30 of our 50 states, they do not protect LGBT members from getting discriminated, from not being able to get housing, from not being able to rent housing. There's even transgenders that have been kicked out of their housing, and there's 6,456 transgenders. 11% of them have been evicted, and 19% of them are homeless.
Unfortunately, there are only a few states that offer same-sex marriage, while almost every other single state does not offer same-sex marriage. And because of them not offering it, when they do get married, they don't get the same benefits that opposite-sex marriages get, like the $5,588 bonus from Social Security that the opposite-sex marriages get.
School is already difficult for most children. People get picked on and bullied and stuff, but add that they are part of the LGBT community, that just adds it and makes it worse, because everybody in schools these days makes fun of them for who they are and who they love. They're constantly bullied and beaten, and sometimes even worse, in school situations just because of who they are.
Suicide rates for LGBT members. Researchers have found that LGBTQ members have a higher suicidal, trying to commit suicide and suicide ideation than non-LGBTQ members, just because of how they're treated, how they're bullied and discriminated and all that sort of thing. And it's LGBTQ youth contemplate suicide is a 2.6 times rate higher or greater than straight identified youth. LGBTQ plan suicide at a 2.6 times greater rate than straight identified youth, and the LGBTQ attempt suicide at a 4.0 times greater straight than identified youth, and LGBTQ require medical attention for suicide attempts at a 5.1 times greater than a straight identified youth.
A lot of states have relied on stereotypes and myths to and use their sexual orientation to deny custody for children. And so the myth is children raised by lesbians, gay men will be brought up in an immoral environment. Which, a lot of people think that a lot of different things are immoral. Some people think that smoking and drinking is immoral. And some people think that raising children in a non-religion environment is immoral. Which, what are we going to do if we take children away from everything that is supposedly immoral? We're going to have nobody to take care of children.
Transgender people used to be allowed to openly serve in the U.S. military. It was a don't ask, don't tell act passed by Bill Clinton, saying if you weren't asked, you didn't have to tell anybody and you could continue serving. But here recently, Donald Trump was wanting to pass a ban on the transgender and LGBTQ members from the military. It's still being fought for, they're still going to court and everything, but when they go to court, they still lose and they get kicked out of the military anyways, and they're relying on it to fund their families. And these are just pictures of what we saw.
So tying it together, this kind of just shows that, even though these people are all human, every single one of them that are lesbian, gay, transsexual, bisexual, pansexual, whatever it is, all of them are human. And it's kind of stupid that no matter what they are, they're being abused. There's people who have been beaten, there's people who killed themselves, there's people who can just walk in a store and people can tell that they're gay and they get beaten and just made fun of constantly. And so we made this presentation kind of to just show you guys how just because of who they love and who they are, they get made fun of, beaten, and their rights are completely violated.
These are our sources.